In November, beneficiaries of supplemental security income will notice something unusual with their monthly payments. Instead of receiving just one deposit during the month, there will actually be two separate payments issued. This situation does not represent extra money or a bonus, but it is the result of the way the Social Security Administration handles its payment schedule when certain dates fall on weekends or holidays. For people who rely heavily on these funds for daily expenses, it can be confusing to suddenly see two payments in one month. Understanding why this happens and how to manage the money wisely can make a big difference. Normally, SSI payments are issued on the first day of each month. If the first day falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, the payment is released earlier on the closest business day. In November, this exact situation will occur, causing the administration to send one payment on its usual date and another at the end of the month to cover the following month's benefit. This timing adjustment makes it look like two payments are being sent in November, but in reality, the second payment is simply December's benefit arriving early. For example, if December 1st falls on a weekend, then the payment intended for December is instead deposited on the last business day of November. This means beneficiaries will see one payment at the start of the month and another just before the month ends. When December arrives, there will be no separate SSI deposit since it was already paid out early. This is an important detail for individuals who carefully budget around the arrival of their checks, as it can affect how they plan for bills and expenses. It is important for recipients to remember that this scheduling quirk does not increase their overall benefits. The total yearly amount remains the same. The only change is the timing. Beneficiaries who are not prepared for this could mistakenly think they are receiving extra funds. Without proper planning, they might spend the second payment too quickly, leaving them short of money during December when no additional SSI deposit will arrive. Managing the timing of these payments requires careful attention. People who live on fixed incomes often plan their rent, utilities, food, and healthcare costs around specific payment dates. If two payments are deposited in November, they should be treated as November's and December's benefits combined. This means that after using the first check for November's expenses, the second one should be set aside or budgeted to cover December. Failing to do so could create financial stress during the holiday season, when expenses often rise. The Social Security Administration does not provide extra notifications or reminders about this timing adjustment beyond the official payment calendar. Beneficiaries are encouraged to check the annual schedule published by the SSA to stay informed about when their payments will be sent. For those who receive benefits through direct deposit, the funds are usually available immediately on the scheduled date. Individuals who still receive paper checks should allow additional time for mail delivery, especially around holidays when postal delays are more common. Another point to consider is how this double payment month can affect those who receive other types of support, such as food assistance or housing benefits. While the SSI payment schedule itself does not change the eligibility rules, seeing two deposits close together in 1 month can cause confusion when reporting income. It is important to remember that the payment in late November is not extra income, it simply belongs to December. If asked to report benefits for a specific month, recipients should make sure they count the payment correctly, according to the benefit month it is intended for. Financial advisors often recommend that individuals take a proactive approach when dealing with an early SSI payment. One of the most practical strategies is to place the second payment into a separate account or a designated budget category right away. By separating the funds, beneficiaries can mentally and financially identify that money as belonging to December rather than November. Some people even label the funds in their banking app or on paper budgets as December check to serve as a reminder. This simple step makes it far less likely to accidentally dip into those funds during November, when day-to-day expenses may already be pulling at limited resources. This kind of financial discipline can provide a strong sense of security. For many people on fixed incomes, knowing that the money for the upcoming month is already set aside reduces anxiety and allows for more stable planning. It gives beneficiaries confidence that their rent, utility bills, medication costs, and grocery expenses for December will be covered. For households with children, This clarity can make holiday budgeting easier, helping parents decide what portion of funds can go toward essentials and what, if any, can be allocated to seasonal needs such as clothing, school expenses, or modest celebrations. In households where ongoing medical care or prescription costs take up a large share of the budget, keeping these funds earmarked for the correct month prevents shortfalls that could affect health and well-being. The timing of SSI payments has followed this adjustment method for decades, and it will continue to do so in the future. Whenever the first of a month falls on a Saturday, Sunday, or federal holiday, the Social Security Administration moves the payment date earlier to the nearest business day. This is not a new or temporary policy, but rather a long-standing administrative rule designed to protect beneficiaries. Without this adjustment, people would face delays in accessing their much-needed funds, which could make it harder to pay bills on time or cover urgent expenses. The SSA's objective is to guarantee that no one is forced to wait extra days simply because of the way the calendar falls. For beneficiaries, the most important point to remember is preparation. Receiving 2 payments in November may look like extra income, but it is not a bonus and does not change the total yearly benefit amount. Understanding this prevents unnecessary confusion and possible financial mistakes. Wise planning means deciding in advance how the funds will be divided, using the first deposit for November's obligations and reserving the second deposit strictly for December. By treating the early payment as if it had been deposited in December, recipients can maintain a steady budget and avoid a financial gap when December comes and no additional SSI check arrives. This situation also demonstrates why it is essential for beneficiaries to stay informed about Social Security procedures. Millions of people rely on SSI as their primary or only source of income, and even small timing shifts can have a meaningful impact on daily life. Reading the official payment calendar, checking notices from the Social Security Administration, and keeping track of payment dates can make a difference. When in doubt, beneficiaries can always contact their local SSA office for clarification, or they can use the official SSA website, which publishes clear payment schedules for each year. Community organizations and financial counseling services are also valuable resources, offering guidance to seniors and people with disabilities who may find the payment system confusing. Being informed, setting aside the second payment, and creating a month-by-month plan are the best ways to handle the November double deposit scenario. Disclaimer: this content is for informational purposes only and is not intended as financial, legal, or official advice. Payment dates and procedures are determined by the Social Security Administration, SSA, and may vary depending on individual circumstances. Readers should always refer to the official SSA website or contact their local SSA office for the most accurate and up-to-date information about their benefits.